I found it on a Tuesday in March, which was 8 months after the ice cream trip, and approximately 240 Sundays too late. The coat had been hanging on the hook by my back door since October, when Dana left it after dinner, and I kept meaning to text her and didn't, and she kept meaning to pick it up and didn't, and eventually it became part of the house the way things do when nobody addresses them. I was looking for a pen in the pocket, that's all. A pen, because mine had rolled somewhere and I needed to sign something for school. The receipt was folded into a small square, the kind of deliberate fold that means someone put it there on purpose. Lab header. Date. Line items I had to read twice before they arranged themselves into meaning. I stood in my kitchen holding it for a long time. The ice cream trip had been Dana's idea, which now required re-examination. She had a way of offering things, babysitting, errands, small generous acts, that never felt like anything other than being a good sister. I had never questioned the texture of her generosity because there had never been a reason to. She loved my son. I had watched her love him for 6 years with what I believed was the uncomplicated affection of an aunt. Now I was reconstructing it. She had taken him for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon in July, brought him back with ice cream on his shirt and a tiredness that meant he'd had a good time. He told me they went to the park after. She had smiled at me over his head with the easy warmth of someone whose conscience was clear or someone very good at appearing that way. I had thanked her. The email account took me 20 minutes to find and 4 guesses to access. She had used a variation of the password we'd shared as teenagers for a streaming account, back when we split everything. The intimacy of that detail, that she'd used something of ours, something shared, to build something secret, was the part that kept snagging when I tried to move past it. The results were in a single email from the lab, clear language, unambiguous. I read it. Then I sat at my kitchen table and let it be true. 8 months. I counted backward with the receipt still in my hand. 8 months of Sunday dinners, of Dana passing the bread and asking about my work and playing cards with my son after dessert. 8 months of her watching him with something I now understood was not uncomplicated. 8 months of her sitting at my table, knowing something about my family that I did not know. I thought about her face over those months, tried to remember specific moments where something might have shown through. I found a few candidates and couldn't be certain whether I was remembering accurately or constructing evidence after the fact. That uncertainty was its own particular misery. The question I kept arriving at and couldn't resolve was this: what did I want her to have done instead? Told me immediately? That would have detonated everything on her timeline, in her way, without my consent. Stayed silent forever? That was what she had chosen, and I was here. There was no version I could locate that didn't cost something significant. What I couldn't move past was not the decision she made, it was the sustained performance. The 240 Sundays. The way she had kept having a normal face about it. I called her at 7 in the evening. She answered on the second ring, her voice the ordinary voice of a sister, expecting an ordinary call. I said I found the coat. Nothing else, just that. The silence that followed was 11 seconds long. I counted. It was long enough to be a confession, long enough to contain everything she had not said for 8 months, long enough to make any explanation she might offer afterward feel like revision rather than truth. I can explain, she started. I need some time, I said. I hung up. I have not called her back yet. I don't know when I will. I know that conversation exists in my future like a room I'll have to enter eventually, and I know it will cost me something I haven't finished calculating. My husband doesn't know. I haven't decided what to do with that yet. The results are sitting in an email on an account in my sister's name, and what I do next, when, how, whether, belongs to me now in a way I didn't ask for and cannot return. My son was at the kitchen table when I got off the phone. Homework. A worksheet about fractions, which he finds annoying and is actually good at. He had his head down and his sneakers up on the chair rung, and he was muttering something about denominators. I stood in the doorway and watched him. I tried to separate love from information, tried to locate the place where they were distinct from each other. I couldn't find it. After a while I decided that was probably correct, that the two things were not supposed to come apart, that whatever else was true, That part was still whole. I went in and sat down beside him. He showed me the fractions. I helped him with the ones he'd gotten wrong.